Let me speak to Peter Bradley, who's the founder of an interesting group called the Belfast Stammer Support Group. Peter, good morning.
Good morning, Frank.
Peter, interestingly, Peter, we were talking earlier about the politician Alan Lewis, and we've had Alan on the programme a few times, who has worked in the past on behalf of people with a speech impediment, as he has coped with it himself. And he's in the news today because he's changing parties from the UUP to the DUP. And I'm speaking to you today because you're highly profiled in the media as well, relating to this Belfast Stammer group. Why did you set it up, Peter?
I suppose, Frank, I set it up because growing up, I didn't really have too many people around me who would have had a stammer as well. So I think it's quite a lonely place, and when you're a younger person in big school, it can be tough. So I had a young lad visit the fire station, and he told me I was the first person he'd heard of who had a stammer. So he was the inspiration behind it. So that's basically why I started it. Now,
you mentioned the fire station because in your 9 to 5, you're a crew commander with the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service, and obviously the way you speak, you've learned that style of preparing the word that may be a hurdle to you, a slight hesitation, and then you control your breathing and deliver the word. Is that something that was taught to you?
Yeah, that was. So it's called a voluntary stammer. So I choose what word to stammer on, and then it helps me control the flow and this sentence. But I want to be clear, it's okay to stammer, and that's a message that we want to get across.
That's a very important message, absolutely, because it's not as if there's something wrong with stammering. It's just that the person who has the difficulty projecting the word, delivering the word, would prefer not to be stammering.
Yeah, that's true. And I suppose we live in a very neurodiverse society now. There's lots of different ways that people talk and think. So I relate it to speaking with an accent. It's just another way of talking, and I think that's a good way to look at it.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, Peter, and it's not in any way meant to be patronising, but your delivery, your clarity is absolutely engaging. It's, I've spoken to many people on the radio who wouldn't be as interesting to listen to as the way you deliver your words. Now, I'm also thinking about people who have been in the media for long and many's a day and who've belittled those with a stammer or who've cracked jokes at their expense. And I suppose one of the best comedies on TV is Open All Hours, but they made great, mirth out of one of the characters not being able to speak the way that he may have wished to speak. Did you find that offensive?
Well, Open All Hours, I think, is a good example of someone who goes about their day job with having a stammer. He hasn't let it hold him back. Some of the jokes could be deemed offensive today, but with the understanding that we have about stammering, we know it's now neurological in its basis. So I like that show, and I think that it's someone who goes forward in life with having a stammer and carries it alongside them.
Yeah, the two Ronnies did very similar work as well. Of course, Ronnie Barker is the character we're talking about in Open All Hours, but they definitely generated humour from it. It's interesting that you didn't find it offensive. You've actually enjoyed it, and you have realised that the character he's playing is, a successful businessman who just happens on occasions to stammer. Now, the people, I presume, that you would be most thoughtful of are parents who are concerned about their children, because if a child is having difficulty forming certain words, then, just to be blunt about it, the mom or dad feels for them, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really understandable, and it can be a struggle for parents to know what to do. So my advice would be to keep on eye contact, to be positive and encouraging, and let the child finish, trying not to put them under pressure. That's the whole goal. And try and build their confidence in many other ways.
And are there enough special services for children who are facing difficulty with forming words? I remember a youngster at my school when I was a child who went to then a special school for a certain amount of time and returned having an incredible stammer, returned with perfect diction to mainstream schooling. Do you believe that is the right course to take? Do you believe there should be more assistance within the school framework? Because that was a long time ago when there was probably nothing within the main school framework that was going to help that young fella. So do you feel that today more should be available in the education system?
I really do, yeah. I feel that we have no specialist centre here in the country for people who stammer in England. They've got charities and big centres that people can visit. But in schools, teachers are in the perfect position, I feel, to really notice it first and to deal with it at the point of origin. And we run a workshop in working with Stranmillis University College to train trainee teachers how to assist a child who stammers in school. So it's some of the work that we've been trying to do, but there could be a lot more. And there's certain areas of the country where specialist stammering services are not available, but we do have brilliant speech and language therapists here who are working really hard.
And if people do want to, particularly parents maybe who are listening to this programme, or a young person who has been coping with the stammer and would like to maybe correct it, or would like to make the progress that you've made, Peter, how do they contact the Belfast Stammer Support Group?
So we have a new website, which is belfaststammersupport.com. You'll find our email addresses on that. We also are running a fun day in September, on the 18th of September at 1 o'clock at Let's Go Hydro, for young people under 18 and their families to come and connect and meet. Because for me, the most powerful thing was meeting other people who stammer, to normalise it and to take away those feelings of negativity and embarrassment. So we have that organised for September, so looking forward to that, Frank.
Yeah. Do you mind me sort of analysing how you're speaking? Because it's what I do as a profession. I speak in public, I speak on the radio, I've spoken on television, I've addressed people in front of, I've been in front of a large audience addressing people many times, and I'm forever analysing how other people do it. And, I know what any individual goes through before they step out in front of the mic. It's not just something you do in a blasé way. You have to be prepared, you have to go out, you have to be focused, and you have to deliver. And I presume there were times that, you're obviously speaking in public now, but being in an emergency service and being a group commander, there are times when you have to issue orders and stand in front of the team. Did you find that challenging, or was that something that gave you the confidence to develop your speech?
Well, when I joined the fire service, Frank, I struggled to say my name. So I think I owe a lot to my job in terms of the situations that it's put me in, and I've built resilience through it, and it's something that people need to be aware of too. If you step out of your comfort zone, you gain so much. And our tag is be yourself bravely. So we want to be role models to younger people to show if you take that step, it'll be easier the next time. And that's how it went for me.
Certainly, it's those who need the assistance at present need to look to someone who's been on the journey, as opposed to a school teacher or a broadcaster talking to them. Sure. And you've been on that journey, Peter, as others have as well, who've appeared on this programme. And I would imagine there'll be quite a few who'll be contacting the Belfast Stammer Support Group just to get an insight in relation to what you do. The one other thing I do want to ask you, Peter, is about the weekend, because if you're a crew commander with the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service, how concerned are you about the state of the earth at the moment, because it is parched dry, and we're going to be, the reality is, out and about and barbecuing and letting our hair down for the next 48 hours or so. Are you concerned about maybe being busy?
Yeah, absolutely. I start with my colleagues in Lisburn Fire Station on Saturday, so we're on Saturday, Sunday, so likely we'll be busy, but I would just ask people to be responsible with barbecuing. If they're lighting fires, trying to get rid of rubbish or waste, don't get rid of it in the proper means. Go to your recycling centres and your dumps.
Yeah, please don't light fires. That really, farmers, people out having a hike, discarding cigarette butts, anything that might spark a fire. This is the time to be absolutely sure that you don't make a mistake. And as for idiots who would go out and literally strike matches and light winds, we're practically begging them now not to do it over the next day or two. And the disposable barbecues, quite a few people saying they want them banned. I noticed there's a lady in Cookstown was saying that at the beginning. A few other people have remarked on it as well. The disposable barbecues, they're not being sold now by the major supermarkets. Would you like to see, whenever there is good weather forecast, that the disposable barbecues aren't sold?
Well, personally, I think that is a good idea. I'm not speaking on behalf of the service, but we've been to quite a few fires, especially wildland fires that have started from disposable barbecues. But I think it's common sense too. People taking responsibility. If they put down a protective holder for it, and if they act sensibly, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and if they dispose of it properly by putting the darn thing out.
Just put it in your bin first.
Finally, Peter, on a hot day like today, were you guys trekking across the likes of the Hennercock Mountain in Hilltown trying to put out fires, and let's hope there isn't one there, but it must be very, very hard work.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's very hard work, and you've got lots of men and women from the retained sector who are maybe giving up time spent with their families, and they're there for a long periods on end. So it's spare thought for those guys and girls who are working really hard, and hopefully that encourages people to be more sensible.
True. Peter, we've managed to crack 2 nuts with you appearing on the radio programme today. I see a couple of people texting us about the Belfast Stammer Support Group. Just remind us of how they contact you again.
So you can contact us on belfaststammer@gmail.com, and we have a Twitter page, and our website is also belfaststammersupport.com, and anyone can call me anytime they want. My number's on the website. Lovely job. Peter, thanks for coming on the programme. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. That's Peter Bradley, the founder of the Stammering Support Group in Belfast, Belfast Stammer Support. Just happens to be a senior fire officer as well. It's gone 11:15. If you're just joining us, you're very welcome. It's Frank Mitchell here until the middle of the day. The U105